the head of the country's busiest fire service says the policy of telling tower block residents to stay put in the event of a fire is no longer viable. London Fire Commissioner Danny Cotton also said more than 2 years after 72 people died in the Grenfell Tower disaster, the government is not doing enough to remove dangerous cladding from buildings. Juliet Bremner reports.
It took just 30 minutes for fire to engulf Grenfell Tower. People trapped on the top floors were told to remain. It was called the stay put policy and almost certainly cost lives. The highly flammable cladding was one of a number of faults that combined to make Grenfell a failed building. The London Assembly were told by the fire chief in charge that night that stay put was no longer a safe instruction. Danny Cotton told me that mass evacuation was an alternative policy at more than 200 blocks.
Not everybody is going to wake up or answer the front door. And then what happens if you've got vulnerable people or people with mobility issues? I don't think it's safe. It was supposed to be an interim measure. It should have been dealt with by now.
So you're saying there are people going to bed tonight in a lot of high-rises that just don't know that they can get out safely?
That would be my concern if I was them. I think that we need to all call upon government to take those steps and to enforce the removal of that dangerous cladding.
More than 2 years on from Grenfell, there are still 321 high-rise buildings with aluminium composite cladding unlikely to meet regulations. Recommendations that all high-rise social housing blocks should be fitted with sprinklers were made 10 years ago, but they've only been installed in 5% of tower blocks. In the last 7 years, there's been a 42% reduction in fire safety inspections. Fire services say that's due to funding cuts. In June, fire spread through this 4-storey block of flats in Barking, East London, with alarming speed. Residents ignored the stay-put instruction and ran down the stairs. Although no one was hurt, Vanilia Amorim says the instruction caused confusion.
I find it completely illogical to stay put in a building where it's unsafe. I think residents made the right decision to get out as soon as possible.
Although it went tragically wrong at Grenfell, London Fire Brigade is adamant that stay put remains the right advice for the majority of those living in safely built high-rise blocks. Juliet Bremner, ITV News.
The jury